2, 3, 4. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do.
Good morning. My name is Rodney Jansen. I'm a licensed prayer practitioner here at the center. Won't you join me in prayer? Turning inward now, aware of this amazing thing that we call by many names. It is that vital essence of life. I call it the blind force or the oversoul. It is the very thing in which I live and move and have my being. It animates me, it breathes me. There is nothing for me to do to call it into my experience. It is always here present, moment by moment. And as this is true for me, I know this is true for each person listening to this prayer. It is all things known and unknown. And as we remember this, we know that we are loved and that we are divinely held. And so today we just celebrate this, remembering the truth of who we are. So right now I just speak a word for our service that we are here by a divine appointment. There is something unique for each of us to hear today. And so we sit here with great anticipation on what is wanting to be known. And we are so grateful for those that have prepared to make this so. So I just simply release this word now into the doer of the word, that creative medium that takes the impress of my words and has already acted upon them. I simply let it be. And so it is. Here's today's affirmation from our Prayers of Wisdom and Vision book. I accept my divine inheritance and I fully embrace the gift of creative energy that has been bestowed upon me. I receive the impress of divine wisdom and intelligence and align my actions with the ways of love and harmony. And so it is.
Hello, I am Edward Fillion, the Senior Minister of the Center for Spiritual Living, Santa Rosa, and I'm here to welcome you to, well, it's an auspicious occasion today because something new is starting to happen. Beginning on Sunday, May the 23rd, our Sunday services will be at new times, so make a note of this. Our Sunday services will be at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. And here's the interesting part. The 9 a.m. service will be live streamed from our sanctuary onto our website and onto Facebook. You know, you'll still be able to enjoy it online in a virtual format. That's why we're calling it hybrid, because there will be some people at the center and some people on live. So the services will continue to consist of a blend of pre-recorded messages, live segments, and there'll be a message, there'll be music, and up-to-date information about what's happening in our community. You know, the announcement, it'll all be there. It'll just be a combo of live and virtual. Now, that 9 a.m. service, not only will it be live streamed, like many of you are enjoying it right now, it will also be recorded so that later it can be rebroadcast for the 11 a.m. service. If you would like to attend our hybrid in-person service, well, there are a limited number of seats available according to Sonoma County's health regulations, and if you want to attend the 9 a.m. service in person, reservations will open up 9 a.m. on the Monday before each Sunday. So you can look for that post on the homepage of our website when it comes time for you to register. Of course, we ask people to only reserve a seat if they are 110% certain that they are going to attend. So I'm looking forward to that. We've been practicing, we've been rehearsing, we've figured out our RSVP system, we've got it all figured out. And for those of you who have the question, what about after service prayer? Yes, we're still going to do that virtually in our Zoom room, so you'll still be able to enjoy one-on-one confidential spiritual mind treatment by a trained prayer practitioner after each service online using Zoom. If you want to know more information about this re-entry process, go to our website, CSLSR.org, and scroll down to the COVID-19 update, and all of the information is there. I want to thank you for being here today, and I especially want to thank those of you who are supporting our center through your prayers and your well wishes. We love opening the mailbox and getting messages of love, and through your financial contribution. Your support makes it possible for us to do all of this and to continue offering this life-affirming message of the science of mind. This message that there is a power in the universe that you can use and that is using you to create a world that works just a little bit better for everyone. If you would like to make a contribution, you can do so on Facebook. There's a donate button on our Facebook page, or you can do so on our website, cslsr.org, using the donate tab, or you can mail in a check to our center, whatever way works for you. Most importantly, please know that you are welcome here. I'm confident that somewhere between the music and the meditation and the prayer and the message is exactly what your heart is seeking and needing and wanting for the next step of your spiritual journey. Welcome.
just before you say something you can't take away. Take a breath, then let it out. Try to think about what would love do now. Wondering if you should cross that line for good. Whatever you decide, ask yourself from inside, what would love do now? Everything is either an act of love or a cry for love. That's why for love we try for love. In the end, that's all we know that's real. Whether right or wrong doesn't matter, just as long as you let your heart decide. Ask yourself from inside, what would love do now? Everything is either an act of love or a cry for love. That's why for love we die for love. In the end, that's all we know that's real. Whether right or wrong doesn't matter, just as long as you let your heart decide. Ask yourself from inside, what would love do now? What would love do now? What would love do now? Before you cross that line for good, say, what would love do now? Before you say something you can't take away, what would love do now? Oh yeah, what would love do now?
What a beautiful song. What would love do now? Such a great song to begin this service on this week where our topic is, this too is God. It's the biggest dilemma in our teaching. This teaching that's so beautiful, that touches so many hearts. This remembrance and this understanding, this uplifting into this awareness of oneness, of inclusiveness. But the question always arises, what about hatred? What about all the suffering that's happening in the world? Here right now, we are going through this time of COVID. We're experiencing close at hand the shootings that are happening all over our country, the suffering happening all over our world. There is all this division and divisiveness between parts. This group and that group. This community and that community. And so how do we make sense of this as followers of this teaching, of this understanding of oneness? One of the things that I think confuses us, makes it really hard for us, is that we honor and we uplift the individual. We support each of us in knowing our own value and preciousness in this human expression. But it's important to remember that as we honor and uplift the individual, we are not worshiping the individual. The truth of this teaching is that understanding and that coming back to that greater source, that source is all life. That source that is not divided up into parts, into people. That's not divided in any way. It is that one presence, that one intelligence, that infinite nature that holds us in our joy and our sorrow, as it holds us in our birth and our death. It holds us in our good days and our bad days. And it remains unaffected because it is not living from this human perspective of what is good and what is bad. It has no judgment because it is not moving as an individual. It is moving as a oneness of life unfolding. You think about when you go out into your garden and you don't divide up your garden, the dirt and the waters and the fertilizers, this plant and this plant, separate as apart from the garden. It is all one divine unfolding. Like the cells in our bodies working together in one organism. You could say we are the cells of God working together in this one organic unfolding of life that is ever evolving, and it is ever evolving anew. And so this song, these words, what would love do, is such an important invitation to come back and remember that is beyond our human feelings, our upsets, our worries. That really holds us and supports us. What would love do? As Ernest Holmes, the founder of this teaching, says, our call is to pray and then listen for that divine inspiration. And that divine inspiration guides us anew each moment. It's not bound by our old stories and our old memories and the fixed ideas of this event or this person. And as I always say when I give talks like this, we're not covering over the world like icing, spreading the idea of the goodness of God over world conditions. We're not denying hardship and hardness in this world. We're not saying it's okay for people to be hurtful and that nothing's ever happening. What the invitation of this teaching is to not hold it solid in place, but to allow ourselves to be fluid with the world and allow it to guide us and direct us anew. In this awareness that we are all here working together. This is a quote I saw from Aldo Leopold, who was a scientist, an ecologist, an environmentalist, a naturalist. He studied the nature of that organic nature of the world, how we work together. And he said, we abuse land because we regard it as a commodity belonging to us. When we see land as a community to which we belong, we may begin to use it with love and respect. And I might add that this doesn't just go for land and our resources. It goes for how do we see and treat each other? Are we commodities in each other's lives? Or do we recognize that connects us and unfolds through us? We are here working together in community, and not just in like-minded community, but as one world together. We're connected to the natural world. We know that. We love that part. But we're connected to all life. The words sung in this beautiful song come from the Course in Miracles. Everything is either an act of love or a call for love. What this teaching invites us to do is to bring forth that love and be in the world responding to that looks less than loving with love. It doesn't mean to just be nice all the time. This is not a sentimental love. This is not even just a human feeling love. This is a natural response to life unto life. If we are truly connected, if we are knowing we are connected, the only natural response to each other is that love, that compassion. What I know and have said many, many times from this stage is that no one is doing harmful things out of their conscious awareness. We do that out of our survival mind, that part of us that gets reactive and scared and is fighting and defending itself. From a misunderstanding of who we are and our connection with life. And so our work is to rise up in this and to respond in a new way. Eddie Watkins says, before you speak that word, or before you take that act, pause, take a breath. This may be prayer. This may just be a moment of stopping. Maybe calling a practitioner. Pause. Because we are called to come back and stop and notice that reactive feeling. We're not here to stop it. We're not here to get rid of that personality. We're not here to not have feelings. But we are practicing not being owned by them, to recognize that we are more than them. Reverend Michael Beckwith from the Agape Center says this: we have the tendency to so identify with our personality and roles that we forget that we are really an eternal soul. We forget that we are here to reveal our eternal nature via the human incarnation, which includes embracing our personalities and roles while transcending our over-identification with them. We are more than our human mind. And we are particularly more than that reactive part of our human mind. That was designed in the very makeup of our body to protect us. And as I said earlier, we are understanding that life itself is evolving all the time, and we are an integral part of that evolution. And so the call in spiritual practice is to evolve from that over-identification of that personality, of that reaction, of those fears, doubts, and worries, those hurts, those blames, and to rise up and to hear that call of love. To respond in a new way. Now, this isn't about just feeling good then and thinking, oh, it's all okay, and just sitting in quiet and peace. Although sitting in quiet and peace is not a bad thing to do for yourself or for our world. We've been given an opportunity for this last year to sit in quiet and peace, and many of us have discovered the challenge of doing that. The need to stay busy or stay distracted. So sitting in quiet and peace is a good thing. But as I've shared with you before, when I was coming up into the world in the 60s and the 70s in Atlanta, Georgia, and I was into an activism and a revolutionary stance in the world. There was a lot happening there, and it was intense. And my role models of Martin Luther King Jr. and Gandhi, these are two people that represented and walked in that love and peace, but they did not just sit in the quiet. They stood up against injustice. They weren't quiet about it. They didn't say it was all okay. They just walked steady in that path of peace. That's big work. That's a big practice. And yet that is what our teaching is all about. The theme is holy, holy uprising. We are rising up out of that lower self to our higher mind, to that higher consciousness. Now, one of the things that I notice in our communities, and sometimes in classes or in just mingling in our congregation, I notice it in my own self. Because we're all human, right? We share this human condition. We share all these human feelings. I notice this tendency to want to be in this place of, well, I'm conscious, well, I'm doing my part. And then occasionally I hear and see people pointing fingers and blaming and making sarcastic remarks about the other side, about those people who don't seem conscious. We like to point that out. We like to feel our own rightness and righteousness in our good work. And so I have to remind myself, I want to remind all of us together this morning, that thinking and experiencing, feeling like we're more conscious than other people is not a high consciousness thought. There is no escape from oneness. No one's left out. That becoming more than our human personality, so that we can feel the world that embraces us all, that bigger source that is our life. I am not God. You are not God. We are not the infinite as individuals. We are all some part of that individual, that infinite expression. Some part. These are the words of Ernest Holmes, the founder. We are some part of this divine swirl. Do we trust it? Do we really believe in it? Are we willing to give ourselves over to that and listen to its call to rise up? It's not always comfortable. People talk to me frequently in classes about feelings and not feelings. Should I not have feelings? Should I only be positive? What about these feelings I have? This is not a positive thinking movement. This is a movement that is based on a truth of a oneness that embraces and includes everything and everyone, that connects us all as one. Our feelings are just our human feelings, but they're not the all of what we are. And so in this understanding, this looking at the divine unfolding in the turmoil of the world, in the pain of the world, we're not acknowledging it. We're not running away from it. We're not called to avoid it, but to recognize that something bigger is happening. I've been seeing in social media a lot this meme that goes out of talking about avoiding, just avoid people, get away from people that are negative. And I read that, and that sounds like good advice. Just don't go there. Maybe don't watch the news. Don't hang out with those people anymore. And one day I saw that message, and I went, wait a minute. That's not the message of the Master Jesus. None of the great masters ever said, avoid those that make you feel uncomfortable. No, the work is much, much deeper. They invite us to love our enemies. Many of those people that make us uncomfortable are our families. They're our kids, our parents, our partners. They're our community members. In this community, sometimes it is those people that are close at hand that I find us most challenged by, not the people of different religion, of different color, of different anything. We just have a hard time with the personality differences. And still, we are just one. And still, there is only love or a call to love. And so that reminder that, yes, this too is God. It is God everywhere, but not God as hate or hurtful behavior. But God is an unfolding that's so much bigger, that's evolving us and opening us, awakening us. We often hear now in our culture about the cracked open heart. Many teachers and teachings talk about how in that dark night of the soul, we receive our greatest gifts. So allow yourselves to feel, but then let it pass. I remember years ago hearing Elizabeth Kubler-Ross at a conference, and she said, Any anger longer than 20 minutes, older than 20 minutes, is old anger. And that really struck me, and it stayed with me. And then years later, I thought, well, 20 minutes, that's a long time maybe. And I realized in learning and studying the brain that 20 minutes can be the amount of time it takes those chemicals, that cortisone and that adrenaline, to pass through the body and let us relax. So yes, we can get angry. We can get hurt. We can have all those human feelings because we have a human being, a mind, and a personality. That is very human. We just don't need to hold on to that form and identify with it. We don't want to hold on to the stories and the memories of our mind. We want to practice being right here. Take a breath. Pause. Margaret Wheatley said this: when we seek for connection, we restore the world to wholeness. Our seemingly separate lives become meaningful as we discover how truly necessary we are to each other. Whatever created us, call it what you will, created all of us. Whatever is unfolding before us, either in our personal lives or in our global community, was put there by that intelligence. Nothing is operating outside of that one power, that one intelligence. Nothing. So ours isn't to exclude, to get rid of. Ours isn't to fix the human self. Ours isn't to perfect the human self so we aren't ever feeling anything that feels unpositive. Ours is to wake up to that that's present right now. Again, from the Course in Miracles. The holiest place on earth is where an ancient hatred has become a present love. We all have, many of us, heard those stories about in times of reparation, someone has done harm to someone or a family, and then they talk about the power of that healing. You may know this in your own personal lives. I know this, and I see this in couples when I sit down with couples and work with them, that true deep intimacy that happens, not from love and sweetness, but from allowing each of them to be vulnerable in front of the other and share those places and then find love that draws them together. We are here to find that togetherness in our world. And as you hear often, we do it one by one in our own consciousness. Some of you are going to go out and do big work in the world. Some of you may just sit and do your prayer work. The infinite presence isn't judging you. It created you for your personal, unique journey. We're here to remind each other to listen to love. What would love do? What is love calling us to do? And then allow that to guide us in our words, to guide us in our actions, our activities. What's mine to do right here? And then maybe to redirect and forgive ourselves or forgive each other because we stumble. We do. That's why we gather as community, to remind, to support, to hold each other's hands through our rough times, through our forgettings, to help bring us back together, to remember that beauty of life, that one consciousness that is always, always, always right here. And as I said earlier, the infinite's not missing. It's not missing at all. I think we get very confused in our dual seeing mind, and our left brain is dual seeing. We see each other. We are designed to see otherness. But it gets very confused thinking God's somewhere down the road. And when I practice enough, I'll get to that peace. I'll get to that wholeness. I'll get to that experience of oneness. But the good news is it's right here. It's always right here. It can't ever be missing. The infinite is not missing right now. That peace beyond human understanding is not missing right now. And so I invite you home to that right now. As Edward says in this benediction that we have frequently heard at our center, we're learning to accept life just as it is and just as it is not. And so right now, wherever you are, however you are, we just turn inward together. We close our eyes sometimes just to simply become more aware of that is beyond the physical form, to not be distracted, to remember that there is a still point right here. There's a peace beyond human understanding right here. There is a oneness that holds all of life right here, a unified field, one universe, God, Spirit, the divine. And so we stop to feel, to open, to align with that is truly our nature, that glue that holds us all together. It holds us as a warm embrace right now. It is what I am. It is the life I am, animating my cells, breathing my breath. And it is the life of each one hearing this prayer. It is the life of each we hold near and dear in our hearts. It is the life of all humankind. For it is that one life that holds this universe and fills every particle, person, every planet. And it is moving anew right now. So I invite that ungrasping of that is gone before. I recognize that is right here creating in and through this very moment, even as I speak this word. And I open and I allow to that warm embrace to hold me as I know it holds each of us. And I accept this as that greater touching, that greater seeing and feeling, that sweet breath, divine breathing that allows us to see beyond our stories, to see the hand of God everywhere in everything. Oh, so good to come home right here. We pause, we take that breath, and we know that love is right here. I am so grateful to know this truth. I am so grateful for this called home in conscious awareness. And so I simply let go into that divine embrace, that is and knows and does all things. I let go. I let this be. And so it is. Amen.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Mann. I'm a prayer practitioner emeritus here at the center, and I'd like to share some opportunities that are available to you. You can find all of our events and resources on the website, which is www.cslsr.org. So today, I'd like to highlight some special events that are happening soon. Our virtual social hall is today at 1 o'clock. Dr. Edward often shares updates on what's the plan for the center these days. There's also time to get to know each other a bit more in small groups. Please join us at 1 o'clock on Zoom. This evening at 7:00 p.m., join practitioner Krista McAtee for our Sunday evening conversation. Krista's topic is love of self, other, and the enemy. That sounds intriguing. We are currently having registration for several of our summer classes. The ever-popular Reverend Joyce Dufala is offering a class called Being Before Doing, and it begins this coming Thursday, May 20th. Registration for that class is available until 5:00 p.m. on Wednesday, May 19th. Are you looking for a weekly opportunity to meditate in circle together? Well, come to Inviting the Sacred on Wednesdays at 6:00 p.m. with Reverend Scioto Bell, or join practitioner Lauren Darge on Saturday morning meditations to learn and practice together. Again, more information about both of those are on the website. As Dr. Edward mentioned before, next Sunday we begin our hybrid services where you may attend in person. You could reserve a seat on our website starting tomorrow. Click on the picture of the sanctuary chairs. After every Sunday service, including today, you are invited to connect with one of our prayer practitioners for after-service prayer. It's free, confidential prayer just for you. To receive this prayer, leave at the end of this broadcast and then go to the special link for after-service prayer. You will not be disappointed. Thank you for joining today. It's so wonderful to feel the connection through the ethers as we do. Thank you for coming. And for now, bye-bye.
I let go, let the Spirit from my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release, I let go, I let the Spirit from my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.